Well, good evening. We had some weather come through here, tornado warning, some electric storm. I even walked in the rain this morning, which, like, it was really warm and anyway, but we had some weather came through. And I guess Trump had um, did his speech to Congress, which I was very disappointed. Still, I didn't even listen to the whole thing because I really never listened to him. But I know from experience that you could you could you will see it all day. It's all on the internet, it's on TV and whatnot. Um, but so of course I end up pretty much hearing the whole speech. Um, which I found it sort of. It's still not. I don't know. I didn't find him presidential. I think that the biggest problem is going to be is that the people that did support him, the people like Pennsylvania and I don't know where, but the people that did support him are going to find out um, that it's because like the insurance companies in a way really has been in the past been able to take advantage of the American people, and they don't want to stop that. So I think that what they're planning on doing might benefit the insurance company and the drug industry, but it's not going to benefit the hospitals or doctors or the American people. And you could. And his other ideas that he had, I don't understand. Um, because it looks like to me that the biggest and the real problem is that like the Paul Ryans and and the Vice President Pence, their ideas once if they get in effect, like if they can ban Muslims, 7 countries Muslims, build their wall, um, you know, um, give a tax breaks to the very very wealthy 1%, uh, and and also have the rich not paying into Social Security after they become over a certain level, which that I think that that should be something that if you're making trillions of dollars, that shouldn't even be a problem. So, so that's gonna be that's gonna well, and then like what he's doing with the EPA and allowing them to like to pollute the water, throw toxins in the water, and he's in the pipeline to have pipelines going through. His arguments. The trains. And I don't know why. Anyway, but what's going to happen is that the people that vote for him are going to get really upset and um, probably have a bigger reaction uh, than the people that didn't. And I think that like Trump and his administration is actually real paranoid. And the only thing about paranoid people is they always strike out. Really, if you look at who they strike out in history, it is whoever they think is like not really necessarily involved, but the easiest to strike out at, not necessarily the weakest, but the closest. And so in which and then the paranoid is just wanting to strike out, cause errors, and you can also already see that they haven't really thought out any of their arguments. Uh, for the simple fact they now want to have everything hidden in an enclosed thing, and um, um, like, oh, they don't want you can't see the paperwork for the insurance. Well, eventually you have to bring it to Congress. He's all paranoid with leaks. you know um he's the leak. He's on Twitter, he's the leak. So that that's the hilarious thing about it. He's the leak because he has a big mouth, and when he like this speech, you could tell they sort of controlled him a little bit better. Uh, uh, but usually it's the people in his administration because they're not professional in policies. You know what I'm saying? Um, and it could be just as simple as you sitting at a table and you're talking loud and somebody's able to eavesdrop. It's as simple as uh, uh, um, them um like that picture they showed when they was with the Japanese prime minister where they were just and then he doesn't have secure phone, so all leaks are coming from him. And plus they've already been told they're being investigated for a treason act with Russia. um, uh, and also, it's pretty obvious with the administration people that he had picked, like Steve Banner. Uh, what happened with Flynn, um, and the history that the people that he has surrounded already have, and their involvement in their business. Now, they might be business people, but they're not constitutional lawyers. They're not professional policy. Can't even say how I can't say like political. They're they were more in the business of more of really, like, I would say, in a very destructive type of business because they have money. And uh you could look at what the Republicans thinking, for example, Paul Ryan, and just all of a lot of the Republicans, but just he's the leader in a sense. But that their thinking is so stored to really like punishment, punishment, punishment. And it's really, it's the victims. It's like, well, we're gonna help out the rich and the corporations because they're giving us, they're gonna give them money, they're gonna make them rich, um, at the expense of the poor. And that's where there's going to be some friction. That's where there's going to be a misunderstanding. And I think that we're going to have like the Paul Ryans being in the Republican side like that, and Trump and his people all very paranoid and attacking the poor as usual. And I think it'd be one of their supporters, one of their believers that um, finds out that this is not constitutional. Just it just maybe devastate them in some way. You know, with with allowing like corporations be able to like just really just take your land basically if they want to go through it, without consideration of the environment, or includes the people as inhabitants of that area. And the- and and China's not gonna. Let me put it this way: the way the policies are in the United States now, and the directions I think it went ever since, I would say, Reaganomics, was the devastating blow that we're not going to be able to change uh, the economics around without fixing the base, and that's not something they want to look at. Uh, it contradicts their thinking, so they don't want to grow and mature um, in their thinking. Uh, um, I mean, we it's so And then with all this around Trump with Russia and Trump defending Russia and Trump have doing business in Russia and Trump refusing to show his taxes and the response that we have already from like Planned Parenthood, from people at Standing Rock, from people that oppose pipelines, environmentalists, women groups, um, the Hispanic groups, immigrants groups, and Muslim groups, that he has attacked hostile and negatively, and even and then his ideas of confronting black issues is to get rid of a few uh, I don't want to call them Uncle Toms. I don't want to call them house niggers. I want to call them uh, misguided. I put them on the same level as those doctors in Mississippi that was black and continued to allow their patients to suffer from syphilis. When you have evidence that this person that is withering away from the effect of syphilis, opposed to somebody that has penicillin, big, strong, looking like O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson. Well, yeah, sure, 'cause big, strong when he was big football, not now, but like in his prime. But anyway, I don't even know where that name came from. But and being angry at the people for especially that female, some of the things, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. So you have the same type of thinking, to where you have the proof and you have the evidence and you have the cure in front of you, uh, uh, but for some reason, for financial reasons, like with those black doctors, there's plus they were working with the government, and yes, at that time you do get drafted, or if you are going into science or something like that, mostly the money was you know, if you want to get funding, but there was other choices and decisions that they make. In Mississippi, to this day, has the worst medical care, especially for prenatal and women. But that's neither here nor there. So, my point is that they don't grow mentally, because it makes them very angry if somebody thinks they're stupid, or they did if they made a mistake or something, or you know uh their business went bankrupt, failed. It's somebody else's fault. Like with Trump with the casinos, he wants to blame the Indians. They have nothing to do with it. So he has sort of a like a 1950 type of a gangster type of mentality going on there, you know, and and I see Russia. I see Putin as like a pimp, a gangster, uh, emperor, like something like that type of you know mentality. Uh, but he also doesn't have the insight or the understanding, and this comes from not being able to empathize somebody else's plight. This is this is this is having a lack of humanity for other people's suffering, uh, 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 financial situation, handicap situation, uh, and we all seen Trump make fun of handicaps. So, and like you want to say it's a narcissistic, but with Putin, he is in such a way that let me say it. So the bottom line is that they're money, 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 money. They're very thirsty dots. And I think that an early choice is because he has like the mentality of somebody that's like a con artist. They don't never know when they win. And everybody's always attacking him. So that type of paranoia stuff, or they is it's their fault that they made the enemies they made. It's like Trump's fault that we have a problem with Mexico because of what he said. What comes out of his mouth and his action. The same thing with Australia, his action. What happened with the ban with the with the Muslims rather. If they had followed the Constitution, that's all the president has to do. If they follow the Constitution, they wouldn't have the difficulties and the problems that they do and adhere to the amendments to the Constitution, opposed to trying to undo something when there's a day-to-day running of the government. Also, that new stuff that pops up. Uh, um, the war is continuing overseas. I think they did a horrible job. It was only children that they killed, and an American, a citizen, a very handsome looking young man. Um, and he had a very nice looking wife. Even in that condition that she was in, was not probably the most flattering time when somebody's going to mourning. But they paraded her during that Trump speech. But anyway, um, I think that they already have enough information to impeach Trump. Uh, and I think Pence wants to take over the administration, but I think that he's thinking that if they impeach him for, cooperating with Russia to throw the election in his favor, the election would have to be null and void, and Hillary won.